Call the meeting to order of the Exeter Downtown Development Authority, March 18th. Please rise and pay respect to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Schultz,
Here.
Charles,
Quicker up. Here.
Powers,
Here.
Colvin, Carey, Clark, not here, Mouse here, Cook here.
Awesome. Any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none. Consent agenda. I would receive a motion to approve A, B, C, and D. Receive and file.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Powers, supported by Charles. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same thing. And financials, A and B, we can have it combined.
Make a motion that we, I'm sorry, I was supposed to say something, actually.
Good.
Make a motion that we approve the financial statements, revenue expenditure reports, and the bills of February 2024. And I'll give you my, so I have the sheet in front of me. $17,990.49. Thank you.
I'll second.
Moved by Charles, seconded by Cole. Any discussion? Voice vote, please. Or roll call?
Cook? Yes. Schultz?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Knaus, yes. Powers?
Yes.
Colvin?
Yes.
Carey? Yes.
Motion passed, thank you. DDA reports, executive director's report.
We're just flying through a busy month. We did a lot of great things with events and a lot of planning for this summer. I had quite a few trainings through Main Street, Oakland County this month. We got all sponsors solidified. We opened our personal OC Main Street account on the e-commerce site. And this has streamlined all the processing for payments, which has been really great. So now instead of vendors having to come in and pay for their booth for summer market, they're able to check out right online. That's something that we've been being asked the last couple of years to find a way to do that. And then we're able to get the Cornhole League spots up there today. So we have people checking out for those. So moving forward, we'll try to transition everything to this site. We'll see how when we get to bigger events like Soup and Sweet Stroll, if we want to change it over to Shop OC. I just don't want any issues when it's that many tickets being purchased. So we might stay for the larger events with Shop Local, or I'm sorry, Local Hop, but the rest we will put on this site. We met with the new Lake Orion team, both of their new executive director and assistant director. And we were with them Saturday night as we were checking people in for the pub crawl, and really worked with them a lot this month on the trolley sponsorship and things like that. We had a successful restaurant week. We secured an additional $5,000 sponsor for the trolley. We, let's see. We finished all of our marketing for the summer concert series, placed all of our marketing, and trying to think of if this one was the month before, I think. Oh, we hosted on-site training with Oakland County. I thought that went really well. Businesses, each individual business was able to come in and meet with Eric Phillips from Oakland County, and he was able to sit right down with them and set up their storefront on the e-commerce site. In our office and train them. And so he's willing to come back again. I'm hoping to get a couple additional businesses on there, but it's going really well for the businesses. So I would like to do that as well. And then our TIF plan approval, which we'll go into the details later about, but all in all, great month, just very busy.
The org committee.
You want to,
Yeah, I'll do that.
why don't you, I'll just follow up the tail.
Chime in, okay.
So I'll chime in, how's that? Since I chimed in at the end of the meeting.
Yeah. We had a follow-up on the parking lot for the quad projects, the southeast project. I understand now they've come to an agreement that they're going to cut out and replace the bad areas in the concrete that are back there. Saw cut them out and put it in within the next month, and it's going to be at their cost. It's not anything to us. That should wrap up everything, even from the north parking lot and the south parking lot on the east side. That completes out those grants that we had for those areas to clean that up. So coming along good on that. The TIF plan, like Kelly mentioned, that was voted on and approved at the village council meeting last week. We didn't have any objections to it or anything, so that was great going through. A lot of help from the village. Thank you very much for that. And the attorney put a lot of time into it, the planner put a lot of time into it. Kelly lived it, so it's got taken care of. So that puts us in line for another 20 years, so all of us here don't have to worry about that again. So glad to see that. The trolley, discussion on that. After this winter, the NOTA did some work to it, but it still had some issues with it, everything. Kelly took it down to Diesel Tech down on Drainer Road, an auction company, and they looked at it, did some work on it, and actually fixed it so it's not as much problems as it was. And they also are ordering a part for it and are looking at working on it for us with us, and we're trying to work a deal that hopefully it'll benefit both of us going forward to keep it at a low cost. So glad to see that. Capital improvement projects, we started throwing some ideas around today at the meeting to get ready to start putting forward, because the budget, which is the next item, we have to have that at our April board meeting. We're going to approve everything and get it ready so that we can turn it over to the village after that. So hopefully we can have everything in line for that. And on the staff reviews, we've picked a forum today, and we will complete the reviews, and we'll have that at the next meeting.
A couple other things too. I caught the tail end because I was on a birthday trip earlier in the day, back at the tail end. A couple of things. One is going back to the TIF plan. We had worked on it. We have a subcommittee to do what we call partner appreciation. Ashley, Ross, Grace, CJ Gosner, and myself were working on that. It's like a lot of us were all busy, so it's kind of a slower process than I would have hoped for. But the goal is, kind of time with what Pete said about the TIF, is to show the folks that contribute to us financially what we bring to the table, the benefit that we provide to them as a TDA. That's the goal, and to make it in a succinct package, so it's not going to take too long. Anybody has any comments about evaluation or comments about our review, let us know. Brad Jacobson now is the chairperson of the board committee. You can let Brad know, or Pete, or myself, to pass it on. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? One idea I brought up today too at the tail of the meeting was that, going back to the trolley, we've had issues with licensing in the past, right? With finding somebody who can drive it sometimes, not right, Kelly?
Yeah, we run into schedule problems. for
Sometimes,
sure.
I know,
Yep.
you always feel bad for Kelly having to answer the phone or do things Saturday night, whatever else with the trolley, and it doesn't run or doesn't show up. So one of my thoughts would be is that if we could talk with our friends at NOTA, maybe say, if we find some more licensed drivers or help, what's the cost of getting a license? Maybe $100 or some training, I don't know. Maybe we co-op the cost with NOTA, so it's a win-win scenario, so they get another driver. That way we have a backup when that stuff happens. So that was the last part of the meeting. I'm done.
Okay, fine. The EV committee?
Yeah, so we were not able to have our meeting this month. Everyone on the committee was out of town, so we will be resuming next month. I'm just gonna put out there that we may need to put the date a little bit later in April than usual, because I'm having a dental procedure coming down the road and we'll not be able to talk for a week. So just gonna put that out there so everybody is keeping that on their mind when they're looking for the next meeting. It might be a little bit later in the month than usual. So.
All right, very good. The promo committee.
I'm gonna respectfully toss it to Kelly because I haven't been in attendance for 2 months, unfortunately.
Yep, and I mean, it's everybody's busy, right? Schedules are crazy, but I do appreciate you guys being at what you can be at. We went over the concerts in the park. One of the country bands we had to switch up, so even though we did print out a really great schedule for summer, we are just gonna change one of the actual bands. So we're looking for a country tribute band, and I talked with the person who is booking it tonight. So I think we're all set on concerts. We got wonderful sponsorship, and we're able to book larger concerts. We didn't have to dig into the DDA budget at all for this year's concert series, but I mean, what we've done in the past, just think bigger and better, because we just had partners come full force on, and Red Piano Studio and Funky Monkey are taking the family night, and they're activating that whole night, so I'm really excited about what this concert season will bring. St. Patrick's Day, we went over that since this meeting was a week previously, so we were, I think around this meeting, we were at like 180, and we ended up at 260 sold out for tickets. So all in all, after we took the t-shirt cost out and everything, we profited more than $1,500. So just from that one night event, so between the 3 trolley sponsors that we now have that are, if you haven't seen the new sponsors on the back of the trolley, it's in our parking lot. We worked with the company to get those on the trolley before this weekend, which was really great. But if we do 3 events like this with those other 3 sponsors, we'll be able to fund the trolley no problem this year in total. Shopping passports are still in process. That's the same kind of passport that we ran last year. Letterboxing, we'll be working with Lake Orion on the letterboxing event, same as last year. Summer market, we already have 25 vendors interested in the market. Half of them have paid, and I will say, Kimberly has done a great job because they're very unique vendors this year, and something that I'm very excited about. We just have new people that are interested in coming out, and what we did is we did a shorter series, and I think that that helped too, getting more people there and excited about it. And we did start it halfway through July this year, and that's just from learning what we've learned the past 4 years as we go into this 4th market season. Activation in Washington Square. We talked about Washington Square activation, different days. So we have the Cornhole League going, and Wind Down Wednesdays, the car show, the market. We just ran through all the events for summer. We talked about Oakland County's Best of the Best. You probably have seen us post in multiple businesses, so let's cross our fingers for Shopping District of the Year one more time. And then we talked about power washing for the businesses, which I will touch on later under new business. And then the Main Street Awards, just trying to get our committee members to attend, because we really want to make sure that, you know, when we go to celebrate everything the downtown has done, that we're all there to celebrate. But all in all, great meeting, and that committee is always strong. We always have a good, everybody shows up for that committee, so it was really great, except for Leanne, which is fine.
I miss it. Kelly, do we need to get tickets for Main Street, or do we just tell you that we planned it?
Yep, so you just tell us, and we're applying for 8 out of the 11 awards, so 8 free tickets will come to us anyways, and then we'll purchase the additional. It's really nice, it's in Rochester this year, and I think it's gonna be a really great event, so I would love to have everybody there.
Sounds good. Any other questions?
June 6th, I believe it starts at 6:30, but I can check on time and resend it to y'all. And I think I did touch on it in this committee, but Oakland County Thrive is honoring Lake Orion and Oxford at their large event this Wednesday. I know I sent it to you all in an email, but we'll accept that award on behalf for Oxford, and that is for our Stronger Together program. So we're excited about that too. We'll go down with the 2 new directors from there, and it should be a nice night, and it's always good to have another award, right?
Any other questions? Good, thank you. The design committee report.
Okay, we met, we actually had a visitor, Debbie Renaud. She just joined, I don't know how she heard about us.
She
I
emailed us
volunteered.
and asked from Ren.
No, okay. Good.
Poor lady.
So it was nice, she just came to sit in. We didn't have any grants to approve, we know, well, we expect one from CFE next month, so we'll talk about that. When that becomes the case, we have some ARPA funds, we're trying to figure out how to use them. Crosswalks keep coming up. And I do want to mention, the township is redoing their master plan, and they had a meeting at the Legacy Center a couple weeks ago, and I went, and a lot of the residents were talking about crosswalks and walkability and having that ability. So I do think this is something we really want to continue to pursue. Of course, when you put in things like that, there's a whole lot of regulations you have to comply with, things that you have to make sure you're doing correctly before you can get it done. But we want to make sure that you can walk between the quads easily, so people can go from one quad to the other. It really is a great idea. Signs, we want to get signs for under the archways. We have the archways going, and we want the signs to say, patio and Washington Square, so people know, the quads are named and people know exactly which is what. So we're looking into that. We discussed maybe hanging them, but we thought maybe the kids would play with those a little and try to head them off, and we're not sure. And we talked about maybe putting them on the side, but we're still exploring designs that make sense. The flower baskets. We do flower baskets, we're doing them in May, but we discussed not just doing them on M24, we want to put some on Burdick too. Just to make it so, it's the entire area has the flowers rather than just up and down M24. And they're really, the baskets are huge, we've all seen them, so we think we have plenty that we can spread out to make it look nice. Furniture options, when new furniture, we want to make sure they're not collecting water. The current picnic tables, etc., kind of collect water. We want to make sure that we get something that's more durable, that they'll run off. Also changing up the umbrellas in the square. We talked about the stripes, which I thought was a great idea, rather than just the solid yellow. So we're looking into that. You were getting some quotes, some options for those. And what else? I think that was about it. I don't know, Kelly, is there anything else?
Yeah, I think the only other thing is the design committee is working hard on the layout of Washington Square. So we are going to change that up this year and make it, Grace, I think this was from the community report that you kind of did, but making it more into feeling like individual spaces within the square. So we are starting to collect some different quotes on like larger turf areas for more green space that can stay out, that the market could actually sit on after the fact. Some planter boxes that can separate some of those areas, more seating areas, things that are more movable, but still create a better space than just the pavement. So we'll be able to utilize our grant funds from the Consumers Energy and the T-Mobile, what we have left, to do that, and be able to have that space ready to go in May.
Very good. Any other questions or comments on that? Yes.
On the ARPA funds, is this funding that we received, or what was the intention for it?
Yeah, so it's so this is something that I worked on with a smaller group of the Main Street team to go and to the commissioners meetings and ask for the ARPA funding.
Yep.
So we just received word that we will be getting it in July. We applied for 300,000. They're going to give us the 300.
Okay.
We have to match at 60%.
Okay.
But the nice thing is after we went through our budget today, and we went through the budget with the org committee today, so my plan is to have the budget for you guys to look at tomorrow throughout the month, so that if you have questions, we can answer those. But with our savings the past 3 years, is we'll be able to match it at 60%, no problem. And so our thought process on that is to start with the crosswalks, because it does have to be placemaking. So if we're getting people from point A to point B, they're considering that placemaking for us. So we'll start with the design and the engineering, and then by July, we'll be ready with when we receive the check. But we are, they have told us that we are getting it, and it's coming in through Main Street, Oakland County.
Great, I do remember you talking about it before. I wasn't sure if we secured it or not.
Yes,
so
finally.
Thank you.
2 years.
Right?
To tie in with what Catherine was saying earlier about the township survey, the I talked with a couple of planning commission members today, and two thoughts stood out, which kind of exactly is what you're talking about, Kelly and Catherine, that the two primary concerns from the community at large, one is the excessive traffic on M24, that people really bothered by that. That was, I think, issue number two. Number one was a lot of people don't want a hyper development, you know, with all the stuff going on, you know. And I know those two go hand in hand, but those two themes came up repeatedly is, what do we want the township, or let's just say the community, because we're basically one community, what do we want our community to look like? And the biggest part was, I think one quote was, we want to preserve it, we don't want to turn into something else, that's why people moved here. And then the other comment was about the traffic and the safety and those kind of things. Those are the two primary issues that they came up with, you know. So that might help us a little bit, Kelly, you know. Mr. Medor?
So following up, I've been in slight contact with Kelly about crosswalks and some ideas they have. So just, that's gonna have to go back to council eventually for approval on this village streets and stuff. So as those plans move forward, we'll have to break it to council.
Very good. Anybody else?
I have a tiny question.
Sure.
I had a crosswalk question, but Joe just answered it. Catherine, you were mentioning the tables or the benches?
Yeah,
Are they benches?
picnic tables.
Oh, so you're talking about the rear of the building, not the ones that are in the front? The benches that are in the front along 24?
Not the ones along 24, the movable ones.
Okay, so the benches along 24 are staying, correct?
Yeah, we didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were talking about, so originally when we implemented Washington Square, we got that $1,500 check from Oxford Bank, and we just had to stretch it as far as possible. So we bought the gray picnic tables that are in Washington Square because that's all we could afford at that time. So now with the grant, we would like to put something that's a little nicer looking, more modern, and that lets the water seep through because it's a solid top and the water gathers and now it's bowing. So those are the ones that Catherine was talking about.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because it looks like the benches also gather water, so I just wanted to make sure I
Oh,
understood.
The ones on 24?
Mhm.
Okay,
That's not what we were.
Yeah, okay.
sorry,
No,
we
it's
can't fix that.
All in good time.
Moving on to then, over here, the number 8, TIP plan status. I think we already covered that.
Yeah, I feel like we covered it. The only thing to note that we haven't discussed is that we are bonded through 2028. So until that time, none of the other entities can pull their funding. So we've talked about one of those in particular that was looking to pull their funding, but they can't legally until 28. So we have 4 years of our full funding.
Could you, or could Joe address that to the entire board here? 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm not
so-
sure everybody knows what the bonding project is that we're referring to.
So right, summer of 2017, so just before I came here, there was a water bond and a downtown development bond, and then they rolled them together and refinanced them. So for like another 10 plus years, so that's the bond. It's like a 71% water, 29% DDA, I think, is the cost sharing on that bond. And I think the final payment is, I think, July 1 of 28 maybe?
Yes, yep.
Because they come January 1 and July 1. And so once those bond obligations are met, that's when, you know, like other entities can, like the entity for one, or the library for one, is they have to stay in the DDA TIF capture plan while the bonding is in place still.
The net bond from the DDA side of it, I believe, was that for the construction of the northwest lot?
I believe it was a parking lot. I haven't looked in the bond materials. I just mostly looked at the numbers to see what else included.
Okay. So everyone knows what bond we're referring to and what
Yep,
it's
and it's
for.
roughly 71,000 and some change a year that we've been paying.
Rod?
And just a quick comment on that deadline or that date you mentioned, Kelly, that's not hard and fast that they'll drop out. That's to be determined.
Yeah, the point is that they can't until then.
Right,
Yep.
I'm saying even then, it
4
might not
years.
happen depending on.
Yeah.
To
what
build
happens.
relationships.
The placemaking project updates?
Yeah, the only thing that I wanted to mention on that is we did, Joe and I walked with BSI last week. So what happened is they ran into some weather when they were laying that concrete and they tarped the area, the water gathered, and there's a lot of, it's very patterned, I will say, in a section. So we did walk it with them, trying to come up with the best solution. So they will saw cut all of the area behind the embroidery shop and redo that. It'll only be a day project, so it's not anything that's gonna really upset the businesses. And then the other spot is actually behind the party store, and water is gathering, so they are going to redo that area, so it's making sure that it drains better. And then with the party shop, we are thinking that, you know, it might have to be redone again, because after they demo that building, we might have some areas to redo, but I don't believe that would be our
Right, so-
responsibility, correct?
No, right, so they have a lot to do. When the owner came in and talked about demoing that, I said, well, we need to get some serious plans, that you can't just go into the loaders or tearing that thing down because of the shared walls, and shared basement walls, and the floor structure in the basement. In addition to that, Les Thomas was planning on doing a second story with residential. This individual is looking perhaps doing a second story with
Yes.
residential. If they do it in a way that needs fire suppression, they'll need to go in and tie into the parking lot in the rear of the building anyway, so they'd have to tear out some of the concrete to run that fire suppression line. It all depends on what their plan is, and if they can get around the fire suppression requirements in the fire code, for different entrances and exits, but I don't know how. Perhaps they can come out the front, I don't know. It all depends on what their design is. And that'll determine whether they have to tie in fire suppression. So, we'll see what happens when they show up the plan for demolition.
Yeah.
But the other part that was mentioned is like the ADA ramp, if you're out there, as it flows out to the parking lot, that's where they had a lot of issues where, 2 flags are gonna be removed and reported.
So they've,
Rob?
they've already said they're gonna demo it because of what they found the structure to be unsafe?
Sorry, the building?
Yes.
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 Anything else you wanna fill in some blanks, Joe, from your conversation?
No, that's basically, he was, you know, oh, obviously I didn't do my due diligence, the other guy must have done his. Came out of his mouth, exactly. He's like, well, okay, I guess I got demo it. You know,
Do you have any timeline or any idea when?
No. I said, well, we're gonna need to see a plan from you, we're gonna issue a demo permit, just like, here you go. We need a plan. Where will the dumpsters go, where's the equipment staging, where's, the plans for foundations, securing it with the neighboring foundation, things like that.
Marie, you had a question?
I just, yeah, when you say demo,
As a
I
tear down.
total
Yes.
demo, not
Yeah.
interior,
Right.
wow.
It has to be at this
I mean,
point.
it wouldn't take much to take that thing and put it in a dumpster, they literally probably had a dumpster in half a day.
There's no one stick.
There's not much there.
I know that we're getting on a bit of a tangent now, but having lived downtown during the M24 construction, I remember when MDOT had surveyors coming out and actually checking the stability of our buildings for the shaking.
Yeah.
Would there be anything like that that we would be concerned about?
Not
with
really.
the
Yes.
project?
Not as much, they're taking it down mechanically. The biggest reason MDOT was concerned about it was the vibration
It was
roller.
shaking, it was
The vi-
breaking glass in there.
The vibration roller packers that are packing down the aggregate, that, they knew that we felt, we could feel them in our office.
Yeah, yeah.
So that, they knew that would go far and wide,
Okay.
the vibrator rollers. That wouldn't be the case here.
Well, you can't say that.
Well, I mean, they're not gonna use the same equipment for that. It's more of a mechanical, digging it down, digging it out, and hauling it. It's not the vibrations that shake the ground over. But we'll see what they come up
To be
with.
determined.
Yeah.
Dust control is gonna be a big thing there, you know, being so close to the highway.
Okay, any other questions on that? New business, A, staff reviews, we will have that ready at the next meeting. B, Excel Power Wash.
Yeah, so we would like to partner again with Excel and offer a $100 credit to the first 25 businesses that want their facade power washed, their awning, windows. We've gotten some feedback from businesses that, okay, it's been 3 years, can we do this again? And I really do think it made a huge difference. We have partnered with the DPW to do all of the like flower boxes and light poles and garbage cans and things like that. So that'll be done the first week in April. So now this would be a case by case basis. And Excel, we just told them that we were partnering with them, and then the work was off us. They go to each individual business and handle it with them. So contract is signed with them. We just get the $100 bill after the fact. So I would like to do a $2,500 spend up to a $2,500.
I have a question if that would also be open to a building owner versus the business owner. The reason why I'm questioning that is because the upstairs awnings are often on a residential space, and if we're only having the business, only the bottom's going to get cleaned. And that doesn't always look great when you have the big awning on the bottom clean, but the ones on top are still not clean. So would a building owner also be?
Yep, great question. So when we did this 3 years ago, some building owners paid for it and some business owners paid for it. I do know that the buildings that had the awnings above, they were part of the wash
Okay.
with it. So it was all of the awnings and the entire building. And then it just depended on who took it's usually, to be honest with you, it's usually the building owner that was taking on the expense.
Okay.
Yep.
To Rod's point about the traffic and the, on 24, we all know that that's a lot of traffic, a lot of truck traffic, a lot of gravel trains and such. The DPW runs a street sweeper, full length from the village limit to village limits weekly throughout this time of year, and it's very, I mean, they did the first week last year, you may have seen them around town, and it's tremendous how much stuff builds up over the winter. But from 24, we get road money for our local roads and our major roads in town, but M24 is obviously state highway, they contract the Oakland County Road Commission for all maintenance on that, so we don't get any fuel tax for that money, but it's in the DPW district, so the DPW does run that sweeper, north to south, full length, weekly, throughout the sweeping season now through fall. You'll start seeing them. Now, one of the things we just brought to council last week too is that sweeper's getting old, we've been putting a lot of money into it, it's getting, takes a lot of abuse. We're looking at potential new one, we're gonna try to buy a used one for about $190 grand, we're hoping maybe to have it by the end of the fall if all goes well. Bell Equipment out of Oregon is who handles its dealership, those Elgin sweepers. So it's a significant investment, but we need to do it, keeps parking, they do the parking lots of course, but M24 gets a lot of debris on it, dust and debris and garbage, and we have to take it and stage it at our shop and then take it to the landfill. So that's just done on a regular basis, in case anybody's wondering, for those businesses, the homeowners on 24, we do that regularly.
On Burdick Street too, they see them back and forth on there all the time too, so that's good.
It's amazing the money that gets spent on equipment, like from the fire trucks, I'm always blown away. The last one was how much, the fire truck?
Close to 800.
$800,000.
Yeah, we just bought that back last year, used, that was like 8, 9 years old for $175,000.
Almost your call.
So Grace, we should stop throwing things out the window?
Peter Candy first.
It's a good idea.
Kelly, do you need any action on B then, or are you able to do that under the budget as we are?
I would like action on it since it's at the
Well,
threshold.
then, I will make a motion to approve a $2,500 spend for the Excel Brothers Power Washing discount for businesses.
And I'll second that.
Been moved by Carrie, supported by Charles. Any other questions? We have a roll call on that, please.
Powers,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Colvin.
Yes.
Cook.
No.
Knaus, yes. Carrie.
Yes.
Motion passed. And items removed on the consent agenda, there were none. Board member comments? We'll start with Catherine.
I have no comments.
Marie.
Me either, except thank you for the pub crawl.
It's a good day.
It was a good day.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to the next couple of months. I think that we're going to really ramp up and have a lot of things to do, and I just want to put out a token of appreciation to my fellow board members and Kelly, your team, for all, and Joe, your team's work on the TIP approval. That was a very heavy lift.
Rob.
A couple of things. First of all, Joe, thanks for work on that issue with the parking lot back there, the concrete that was messed up. How do you want to describe that? I know that was touchy negotiations and things like that, so I know I would, for one, appreciate what you did. And how you did it too, by the way.
Thanks.
Not what, but also how you did it, very positively. Another comment about our meetings to remind folks, when we have, our 4 committees should have agendas. We should also take attendance, have minutes, just 3 simple things. We kind of keep that in mind, just make it easier. I know other boards I'm a member of, other groups, it makes it so much easier to go back and look at history, things like that. The survey, once again, I compliment Grace, what she did at the survey was really nice, and brought us some great information. I think that was, just how succinct it was, made it easy. Oxford Aspen Youth Association, I'm on that board, and if you notice pop cans and stuff over there, those aren't from Joe Madore. Those are people dropping them off.
A couple of
It's
them
one of our, well, some of the beer cans are. Anyhow, we're doing a fundraiser, end of the month, it is all over with, so if you want to get rid of some of those annoying cans and bottles, then drop them off there, and we'll pick them up and take them over to Meyer Tournament for big bucks. And then last thing, Kelly, I always appreciate all the enthusiasm and stuff like that that you do. I really, really mean that. And I was telling Kelly earlier today, you know, when I was talking to some of the people in Orion this past week, just when I was down in Florida, supposedly on vacation, I found these people, and I said to a couple of them, it's great how Oxford can do 5 times as much with half the budget. You know, so it's nice to say that, and it's actually true. It's not just me needling my friends, and they're our friends, by the way. Okay.
Kelsey?
Thank you. I'll second what Brad had to say about the meeting minutes. I noticed that the work committee is always lacking on attendance. If we could pick that up, that would be great, especially because it seems like the work committee is kind of the foundational committee for the DDA, so I would like to see that too. At the village council meeting last week, it seems like 32 East Burdick is just about done, and Mr. Madore probably has the better details than I can recall off the top of my head, but I think there's no longer a holdup with DTE, and
No, they're still waiting.
Oh,
Consumers
they are.
got the gas in. You'll notice that consumers came and chopped a hole in Mill Street, right at the corner there,
Oh,
on the
yeah.
street.
mhm.
They finally got the gas service ran to the building just 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Parking
DTE is
lots.
still AWOL.
Okay, so I spoke too soon, but it seems
Almost.
like we're getting there, so I'm happy to see that, and I think that people appreciate that as well around the community. And then, I believe we're pretty close to Kelly's 3-year anniversary as
Friday.
being our executive director, so, yeah, obviously,
thumb.
we've come a long way and wouldn't be where we are today without Kelly, so thank you for all the time and heart and everything you've put into this. So
Thank you.
It's been incredible.
Leanne?
Well, I'm just gonna say happy anniversary. No, for sure, thanks for all you do and drive us to do. That's all I've got.
Thanks. Well, can I make comment then?
Sure.
Thanks, okay.
We went
No,
to
I
finish.
just, as we were going over, I have to thank you guys, because I'm gonna thank you tomorrow too at the, community breakfast and state of the community, but when we were going over the budget today and like looking forward, I didn't know if we could top the past 3 years, and like especially like getting the grants and things like that. And as we're going over and we look at what we saved, so that we know what we're going into and what we can do, and we're about to top the past 3 years in this next year. And that is amazing to me, but also I shouldn't be surprised, because this board works so seamlessly together, and always just, you guys have such open minds, and you're always willing to work together, and I'm so grateful for all of you and what you have done, and just the support that you give myself and Kimberly, and I'm forever grateful for the opportunity.
Very good. Again, one quick thank you to the village council last week for, approving the TIF plan and all the work that went into it, everybody that did it. I mean, it's been a long process, that I know Roger was a part of that for the last 4 years, 5 years, when we first started working on that. It was a long battle, and then towards the end there, all that went away to nothing, and it had to be started all over again. And so to get everything done and everything, no issues, I mean, it was pretty clear and concise when we got done with it. So thank you very much for that. Kelly and Kimberly, again, the event for St. Patrick's Day, I thought was a great event. How well organized it was and everything, as far as, even the people coming in to pick up their shirts and get ready to do it. I mean, it was, no problems, and there wasn't people all confused and issues and everything like that. So it went rather seamless, so great job, very successful. So,
Thank you.
other than that, extended public comment? Yes, sir.
I'm actually a non-voting member, so come forward. So we'll call it public. So follow up, the Russell POD parking lot over there, the council approved me, and I got the agreement signed with DTE for this lighting. He purchased the street light poles for the parking lot over there. There's 5 or 7. we're gonna incorporate those into our community lighting program, like the other street lights, the simple parking lot lights that are on, just on the grid with DTE. There'll be no, meter socket stand and all the stuff that piles up over there like that. And it's gonna be a relatively small amount. DTE will come out, take Mr. Weckles' poles, install them, mount them, and connect them, for about $2,400 and change. I think Mr. Weckles gonna pay for that because he was gonna pay to install them himself anyways. We struck this deal with DTE, to have those installed by them. And then going forward, if anything happens to them, DTE will take care of them 100% from then on going forward. They won't match the ones that he bought because his were kind of special order ones. They'll be a stock DTE one, but they will do a foundation installation and the light installed and try to make the pipes the same, you know, so their foundations are gonna be the same. Yeah, 'cause that's if somebody hits it with a car or something like that, or eventually they just become obsolete when it comes to parts. So, and touch base on the walkability and things like that in the downtown, crosswalks and things like that. At Pollyant Trail, we've talked, and I think I mentioned to council about this West Burdick crossing, and it's kind of an odd situation where one side, as you start to cross, you're in the village, and the other side, and you're in the township, so it's you know, the way that the road, the angle is, Bill Railroad grade angle, and the way it is, right? So, there's folks looking into that funding. We're gonna talk more about it at the Pollyant Trail meeting this week as well. But, you know, it's well over $100,000, I think, for some of those crossings there, because they're weatherproof, they're durable, they're supposed to last for years. Looking at options like that and see.
On a word,
Right.
just a comment about those things, they are having issues to be gotten rid of because they're falling apart.
Yeah.
Secondly, as somebody that drives by one every day, I would say get rid of them. They're very dangerous. They actually are more of a problem than they cure because nobody knows how they work. Coming down Drain Road nearly every day, I see people just about get killed because of those things.
Yeah,
They need to be eliminated.
People think they could hit that walking into traffic.
Right, and you can tell people all day long how they're supposed to work,
Yep.
but you're not gonna change human nature, and so many times I hear tires, you know, people slamming their brakes, those things are dangerous, and they need to be gotten rid of, not changed.
And for now they are, but there's been a big clamoring of people out that use the trails going and really want them back. Again, it gives you a false sense of security in a way. All they are is to
I
warn
wouldn't
people
let
that.
10 or 5 people cause somebody to die just because they
Yeah.
think that they do something.
Yes, I know. Chief Soul said he's seen bikers come rolling down there, they hit the button and just go across the road.
Oh, they're terrible.
Everyone's gotta stop now.
Yep.
So that is a problem, obviously. So, let's see. It's one of those things that takes a while to work on anyways.
Anybody else? Very good. Motion to adjourn at 7:40.
Oh, geez, 4:50?